Welcome back to Good News Central Virginia. We're talking with some members of the Ralph Bunche Alumni Association, and we were talking with Rosetta. She was telling us a little bit about the history of the Ralph Bunche High School and really how it came to be. One of the things that we talked about a little bit earlier tonight was, and right before we went to the break, was the separate but equal that really was not equal.
Right.
And what they tried to present as being an equal option, which really it wasn't. No. And so even the White High School recognized that it wasn't equal, and they tried, instead of lifting up the other school, they tried to bring down their school too.
And it didn't work.
It didn't work. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, what happened was that ultimately the plaintiffs, we did win our case, which was something that was very unprecedented. So we won over the equalization of white and Negro school facilities, which led to the construction of Ralph Bunche School. Instead of trying to make it separate, let's just build a school. And so this historic building was officially dedicated on Friday, September the 2nd, 1949, a 4:30 p.m. ceremony. The charges of discrimination were officially dropped, and that particular phase of Negro history in King George County was then complete. And this victory, this particular court case, was important for the NAACP on its road to its landmark decision of Brown versus Board of Education, Topeka, Kansas, because early in the 1950s, the NAACP decided not to return to the courtroom under the separate but equal banner, but all future efforts were going to be directed at having segregation in education declared unconstitutional.
So this was a real major step here in moving forward in our history.
Exactly, because if they had not won this particular case, it would have hindered their strides toward tearing down the segregation, because they still would have to be fighting the separate but equal. They still would be dealing with Plessy versus Ferguson from 1896.
Sure.
And so there were a lot of struggles that they were working on, but this victory in the Upper South was one of the things that, okay, we got some momentum now.
So this was a real landmark decision in moving us forward to really kind of the current environment that we're in now.
Right, to Prince Edward County Schools, Barbara, I'm sorry. But anyhow, the young lady who was instrumental in getting that case started, and that's the case from Virginia that's included in the Brown versus Board of Education, Topeka, Kansas. So we're included in that. So
sure, awesome.
King George, we led the way. Pushed Prince Edward, they led the way. Thurgood Marshall said, separate but equal, not going to work.
All right. So we're here in 1949, and we're going, school's built, everybody's going there. We get up to 1968, and then, Nadine, something happened there. We got segregated, and then what happened to the school? We went through all this history, all this struggle to get the school built, and now desegregation happens, and we're moving into a new phase.
Yes, we are moving into a new phase. In 1968 was the official closing of Ralph Bunche when King George County went to full integration. Prior to that time, even though the school was built, we had our own school, we couldn't dare say that it was still equal. We still experienced, even though we endured, we flourished, and we survived, we still experienced being like the stepchild or orphan child, because we had the hand-me-downs from King George White School. We had the hand-me-down books, we got the hand-me-down laboratory equipment, the hand-me-down French lab, athletic equipment, you name it, we received it, as well as buses from the white school. So yes, we had our own, and yes, we did survive, but it was still obviously not equal. But in the eyes of the law at that time, it was as good as it was going to be. In 1968, when the school closed, they did continue to use the Ralph Bunche building for several things. They had a county-wide kindergarten, which meant that was all students, white and black, that went to the countywide kindergarten. It was used as the King George Board, school board office, also used for an alternative school program, which was basically we call REACH, with the students who were a little behind in at their grade level, and they were able to come over there and have special opportunities, special teaching to get up to par. Also had the preschool 4-year program there. Rappahannock Community College used it for some of their computer classes. And at that point, it was still being used constructively. Then, later on, we had the King George Sheriff's Department that moved in, which they decided to use it as for weight training, search and rescue training, including the canines, and SWAT team training.
So as all this stuff is going on, there probably wasn't a whole lot of maintenance going on during that time.
Correct.
No, not a lot of maintenance. And on top of that, even with those things happening, the school was being used by the county as a warehouse and storage facility. So, in essence, they were just using it, throwing things in, doing whatever it was. This was an extra building. We don't really need to maintain it.
Even though all the history that was in that school, was it not recognized at that time as a really a historical part of our fabric at that time?
No, so, okay. It was not. And in 2006 is when our school actually gained its state and historical designation through the efforts of many of our people who were on the King George alumni. I'm sorry, that was with the Ralph Bunche Alumni Association. Since that time, it still really is not recognized. We are struggling now. That's what this whole thing is about that we are doing now, to have our school renovated, preserved, so that we can display the history of what went on in King George County as it related to school desegregation.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to tap on that a little bit and then kind of move into where we are today and how you guys have been working diligently to actually get the resources to bring the school back and to tell the story of the school, because it is a part of our history, part of our struggle, and part of moving forward from where we were then to where we are today. So we'll be right back.